Hey everybody, it's Jen. Welcome back to my channel. I do have a guest here with me today. We will get into that in 1 second. So, as you may know, I am a woman in long-term recovery. I'm also a CARC, a SERPA, a rape crisis counselor, a Narcan trainer, a syringe peer, and the creator of Supplies for Life. So, you can find all my social media and all the things about me, what you need to know, all that down below. I will post some social media links, probably like right there. You can follow me there. But I really kind of want to cut to the chase today and really get into it. So you guys are always after me to get some people on here that I work with. And I don't not everybody that I work with is on their path to recovery at that moment. Some people are still active and some people don't want to or they're camera shy. But I really feel like this is a different situation. And um, this is Connor. Connor is completely 100% sober. He is in the very beginning stages of his recovery. He's super nervous. So, guys, you better keep them comments appropriate because this is a very difficult thing to do. So, yeah, I'm going to let Connor introduce himself. So,
I'm Connor, 22, and guess we'll just give you a little bit about how my addiction was and what led me to be sober. That's just a long time using. When got really tiring, boring. Um,
so wait, let's go back. Like, where were you born?
I was born in Oneonta,
New York.
New York. Then I moved to Louisiana until I was like 5, and then came back up here. Um,
Who did you live with?
I lived with my uncle down there.
In Louisiana?
Yeah, my uncle and my mom.
What part?
New Orleans.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
I've always wanted to go. I've never been.
I don't really remember any of it. I
Hmm.
mean, mom has pictures of me at like Mardi Gras and all that,
Oh, that's cool.
up on the guy's shoulders and stuff. So it was pretty. I wish something I could remember, but
Well, you were too young.
but, um,
So then you guys came back up here, just you and your mom.
just me and mom, yeah. And then she met my stepdad, who raised me since I was like 2
Hmm.
until I was like 13.
So what happened? So when you were 13, they split up.
Yeah, kind of caught my mom cheating, I guess you could say, and I don't blame him for leaving, but for the longest time, my mom, brainwashed me into thinking that he didn't want anything to do with me.
Hmm.
So it was kind of hard growing up. I didn't have that right fatherly figure to lead me in the direction I need to go.
Hmm.
And then my mom got arrested, so I went to live with my aunt, and I was doing pretty good there until mom came back into the picture.
How long was your mom away for?
She was only gone for a month, but I was doing better at my aunt's than I would be with my mom.
Hmm.
And I guess we could jump back a little bit. I grew up
Hmm.
in the lifestyle of my mom being a hustler all the way until I was about 13, 14. And then we moved to Afton. And then
New
went,
York.
yeah.
Hmm.
And then she got arrested and I went to live with my aunt. And then mom got out within a month. And by the time I turned 16, I moved back in with her and her boyfriend, who turned out to be alcoholics at the time. And so I watched my stepdad beat my mom for 5 years. And I was DDing them around all the time and wanting to kill off, I guess, just because of it, because I couldn't really do anything about it. But at the time too, she was also kicking me out a lot. So at the time, like 17, went to go live with my uncle, and I got introduced to meth, and I did meth one time, and it took over from there. It was started becoming an everyday thing. I went from having jobs and vehicles and a nice girlfriend at the time. I didn't treat her well either. I was doing the same things my stepdad was doing, just more shamefully, I guess. It was good and it was bad. But uh,
So you started doing meth when you were 17, and that was your drug. That has been your continuous drug of choice.
Yeah, for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, used it for 6 years straight. Never really had opportunities into using dope or anything else like that. I mean, I've tried it, but
Meth was your true,
that was the love of my life right there.
which I can absolutely 100% relate to because I mean, I was, I've done tons and tons of cocaine and heroin, and I loved heroin, but nothing got me like the way meth did. Like that was it was insane, like that one, and it's so true. All it takes is that one night of just an intimate night with it, and it owns you.
It takes over.
Hmm.
I mean, they say dope's like once you're on it, there's like no getting off. But I mean, dope has its way of taking people, but I feel like some people don't understand how meth takes over people either.
Hmm.
I mean, the 6 years I've been using it, I used to shoot up and stuff, so I got myself off the needle,
Hmm.
which was the hardest thing I had to do.
Hmm.
But
I can
um,
relate.
I got myself off the needle. But when I started shooting up, that was it. Like I wanted nothing but to be able to shoot up 24/7 hours of the day, and that sucked the most. But eventually, it got tiring because then it led to lying, thieving, stealing, doing stuff that I wouldn't do sober, and
Hmm.
it cost me some. I guess it got me into some trouble, really, more or less.
Because you're currently on probation.
I'm currently on probation, yes, and I finally just got tired of it when your mother's supposed to be the one who's supposed to be there for you, and your mom's supposed to be your best friend. The one who holds you down and keep you away from drugs and doing things you're not supposed to be doing. Uh, it's kind of different in my story, I guess. I was shooting up with my mom, getting high with my mom. Misery loves company. So being the child of an addict and being an addict sucks ass, but excuse my language.
No, you're fine. Go for it.
Um, she would kick me out every day. I mean, I've slept in a blow up mattress on the side of the highway in the middle of winter just to, survive. I've had kids younger than me, provide food for me to keep me where I need to be. But that all took its toll, and if it wasn't for Jen, I wouldn't have went and gotten sober.
That's not true. So let's talk about how
Was.
how did you stumble upon my lovely services?
Well, I heard of you from a couple of friends. I was always too scared to reach out, get the help I needed.
So you heard about me before we first got in contact?
Yeah.
For how long?
I heard about you probably like a couple months before.
Connor.
I got one of your oldest cards in my wallet. I'm not even gonna lie. But
Which one is it?
um your old, I think it's the Dell recovery one. It has your name on the back of it. It's not even like I'll have to show you.
Is it like teal?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was my first business card from 2 years ago that I made at Office Depot.
But I heard about you from some friends, and I was gonna get a hold of you. Just was kind of scared. I wasn't ready to open up and be like, hey, I got a problem.
No, that's totally understandable. 100%. Hey, there's this lady you can call. You don't know her from a hole in the wall, but you should call her and tell her all your dirty little secrets. No one does that. I get it.
Well, Jax is the one who gave it to me. Mm-hmm. She's like, she could help you with housing or what you need. So I was like,
baby Jax. So what made you decide that you were going to talk to me this time? What?
It's actually my life, really. It was either I could have stayed where I was, continue to get high,
mm-hmm.
and live out in the streets under a bridge,
mm-hmm.
or fight for my life, get sober, and do the right thing. Which, happy I chose that path, because I'm starting to get a lot of blessings back in my life. I mean, I've been blessed with you, Jared. I've been blessed to be able to talk to my stepdad that I thought didn't want anything to do with me for the longest time. Um, got my siblings back in my life somewhat. Got a lot of my sober family back in my life, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So let's talk about when we first started working together. Connor was one of the very first people, or very few, I shouldn't say. Well, probably very first. He's probably in the first top 5, and very few who literally was like, the first day we met, he was like, I want a program. And I was like, are you sure? And he was like, yes. And I was like, okay. Oh, most people, when they come to me and they say they want a program, I'm like, okay. And I wait a time or two because I have learned that not everybody who says they want a program is ready for a program. And I have made a lot of bad connections between people and programs, meaning I've called the program, you know, pushed my weight around, so to speak, and gotten them a bed, gotten them picked like a pickup time, gotten them this, and they just weren't there yet. And I think they told me they wanted a program because I think they thought that that's what we supposed to say or want, or that's what I needed to hear from them. And it's not, because it's not my program, right? He said it, and said it every single solitary time we spoke. And I was like, all right, well, if you want a program, here's the number, call and do an intake. And he was like, okay. And I was like, okay. And then I called there and they were like, yeah, he did the intake. And then I called back and they were like, yep, we're going to pick him up this day. We're going to pick him up that day. And then a situation arose where his mom had kicked him out. And I was so afraid he wasn't going to show up that next day to be picked up to go. And he did. And I paid for somebody to take him down to a rehab. And it was going pretty good.
yeah,
And then he got COVID
due to COVID,
and they fucking kicked him out.
fucking Corona.
So on New Year's Eve, Jared and I paid for him to take the bus back up here from Long Island because that's where he was. And we went to the bus station. We picked him up, and we've kind of been coddling him ever since. And I think, so the 9th of February, you'll have 2 months sober.
That's great.
How does that feel?
Feels great. Not even gonna lie. Like,
Yeah, no, it should.
before the 9th hit for my month, it was like, felt like it was dragging. It was like, Jesus, like I was having my cravings. I was wanting to get high, but like I knew I shouldn't have or needed to, because I would have been right back down the path I was on.
Mm-hmm.
And like now, the days that go by past the 9th, my heart feels like more and more fulfilled with like happiness. I don't feel as depressed as I used to be.
Laugh.
I laugh a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They're not even ready for what's in store. But
So this is like the beautiful part of what Supplies for Life is about, and the job that I get to do. I get to watch people come back to life. And I literally, is it okay if I share those pictures that you shared with me of your before and after when you got sober? Okay. So I have pictures that he sent me the day he went into rehab in Long Island to the day that, like, it was like a 2-week span, and you can literally see the life back in his eyes, and like it's just a stellar picture. It really is. So I'm going to share that with you guys. On top of all that, though, like, I got to see him. He used to call me ma'am. When we first met, he was like, yes ma'am, yes ma'am, yes ma'am. Even though he was homeless and had nothing, he still had respect. He still had politeness, and he's such a likable kid. There's just a way about him, and he did not allow this fumble of being kicked out because of COVID and other BS and whatnot. He didn't let it derail him, and he's still sober. He's working on 2 months, and we all know what a fucking feat that is. When you have nobody and nothing, that shit's even more difficult. And he's still fucking kicking ass and taking names. And tomorrow, actually, he is leaving to go to rehab in Pennsylvania. I went with him. We went and talked to probation. He still has a couple of silly little court things going on. He decided to not report to probation for few months, so now he's got to answer for that. But I had the honor, and I actually say the honor of meeting his PO, and she's like rooting for him. Like that just is,
She's a pretty good lady.
she's an amazing lady, and that should go. You should see that I've never seen that happen before, ever. And that should show you something about yourself, even though this has been one of the lowest periods of your life. And hopefully it's the lowest. Nothing else ever happens to make you feel that way again. But that should still go to show you like how good of a soul you are.
I'm trying to be decent, you know.
You don't try to be decent, you are. That's the difference, Um he's been crashing on my mother-in-law's couch because he's had nowhere to go. And I don't let anybody in my house, you know? Um, and he's just a great kid. And, he has nothing, but yet I get to hear you laugh every day. You're helpful as the day is long. He has been bringing all the boxes in for the deliveries for Supplies for Life. So that's a huge help to us. And I feel like this is a this, so not only is this a great video for them to see, this is good for you to do, because I think part of healing for us is telling our story. And I remember when I first used to tell my story, I was embarrassed, right? Because it's gross, it's horrible, right? And then after I got past that emotion of it, then when I would tell my story, I'd be super sad and I would just cry telling the whole thing because it's fucking sad, man. Like, our stories are sad. Then something else happened, and I'm not sure how or where or when, but it became empowering. And it became like that was my story. But now I get to sit here today and tell you about it because I'm no longer that person. Like I always say to you, like, this is a chapter in your book. It's not your entire book. This is part of your story. It is not your story. It would be your story if you didn't continue to put the next right foot forward. It would be your story if you didn't say, listen, I'm an addict. I'm 22 and I need help. I don't want to be like this when I'm 42.
Right.
This is going to be a part of who you are. It will always be a part of who you are, but this does not have to be all that you are. And I try and I feel like I berate you with this and I say it all the time, but I want you to realize like, you're 22. The world is like this and it's just yours for the taking.
I don't know. I kind of grew up having to be an adult at such a young age,
Yeah. Like we were saying yesterday with probation, like life has not been kind to you. It hasn't. And it bothers me. And I hope you see through Darren and I the last couple of weeks, whatnot, that you're worth more, 100%.
Oh.
And you are worth so much more than how you have been treated, how you have been loved or unloved or dealt with or not dealt with. You are worth so much more than what you have been shown. And I hope you continue on this path for the rest of your life, because you could be sitting in my seat one day helping people.
Get me crying, Jen.
It's like you are absolutely 100% worth so much more in life than what you've been given or been shown. And I just hope that you continue to see your self-worth, and I hope you hold yourself in a higher esteem and make others as well. Like, you don't ever have to sleep under a bridge again. You don't ever have to not have food again. You don't ever have to worry about where your next anything is going to come from. Like, you have us, we love you, we will always be here for you. And the more strong, sober friends you get in your life, the stronger you'll become on your own. You're a fucking kid, man. You're 22. You're not supposed to know what you want to do and be in life. And if you do, you're weird.
I've heard that one a couple times.
But it's the truth. Like, you're a fucking kid, man. You are a kid with an adult's set of problems. And that's because the lack of childhood that you had.
Yeah. I mean, I remember at one point in time as a kid, as I said, being an addict or a child of an addict.
Mm-hmm.
My stepdad and my mom at the time, when I said they were hustlers and stuff, they would literally lock themselves in their room at a high and dope and shit, and like wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
come out for days on end to the point where my cousin would have to come down and feed us and like take us outside to play because if it was just me, my younger brother and sister at the time, we're not allowed to do anything. I wasn't allowed to cook their food, my food. Like we'd have to wait until they came out of the room. So like at a young age, I started saying, like fuck you, I'll cook them eggs or I'll do this and do
Right.
that so they're good and you know
So I've said this to you a bunch of times. It was your job to be a child. That was the only job that was ever yours. It was not your job to be the responsible child because it was not your responsibility to have to care for your siblings. That was not your job. That was your parents' job.
yeah, but they're so young. Just
Absolutely. And they're so lucky they had you to step up and take care of them and help them. But that was never your job. You know that, right? Like, I mean, have I said it to you enough
yeah,
times?
yeah. I guess I forget, like I said to you guys all the time, I forget I'm 22.
Hmm.
I don't feel like I'm 40, but I feel like,
You're grown.
yeah, like I'm a grown ass man, like,
Hmm.
I've had decent jobs. I've had things I've wanted in life. It's just my addiction took over and
You should still have things you want in life.
I wish.
There's no what you don't. What is there? If you had one thing that you could want and actually obtain right now, materialistic wise, what would it be?
My own apartment.
That's a big one. Okay.
I would have said a car, but I'd rather have an apartment and walk
Hmm.
back and forth between work than have a car and sleep in the car to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What is one small thing?
A year of sobriety.
That's not small, bro.
6 months of sobriety.
I'm talking about like, God, I don't even know. But I see even your decision making process when it comes to, I say a small thing and you say a year of sobriety or an apartment. That just goes to show in a sense how grown your mindset is. Because if it was any other 22-year-old kid, they would have said a new iPhone or, a new pair of sneakers, whatever the thing is, or something. And your your natural instinct is survival. And you just showed that.
Well, I mean, I've been kicked out since I was like 16, so it's
Right.
really, I guess, all you can do.
I think everybody, whether they realize it or not, wants stable housing and the feeling of knowing they have their own. And let's face it, if your home life is shot and you don't have a stable home, how do you build from there? With
Right.
anything, sobriety, employment, family, anything. If you're sleeping in the back of someone's car. I mean, the first time I met you, I provided you with a sleeping bag,
That I
So
slept in the back of a van with.
yeah, I mean, that's that's rough. I remember after we met, I got into the car and I said to Jared, "My God, he's such a likable kid and he's a baby."
I've been dealt these cards, and I have always believed, you go through things in life that to only make you stronger. So, and it all depends on it, how bad you really want it. I really want my sobriety.
It shows.
I really want, nice things in life. I want to be able to care for myself, like I said, my own apartment,
Hmm.
like nice things, because I had those at a young age. I was just childish at the time, I didn't know how to handle things like that. I had my own apartment, I had my own car, I was going to work every day. But then, my addiction took over and
Hmm.
it was either I was getting high or I was going to be miserable at work and probably end up getting fired, which I'm lucky I, held on to a job as long as I did. And then I moved out of that apartment and ended up, moving to my girlfriend's aunt's house.
Hmm.
That's where shooting up took over. That's where my charge took over, Tried rehab a couple of times. It didn't, just wasn't my cup of tea. I walked out after like the first week, first 2 times I went, only so I could go get high.
Of course.
Also because the fucking the counselor pissed me off, and I told him I was going to punch him in his face. You know, he was pushing those buttons.
So they have a job to do, and part of their job is to push those buttons, but I think it needs to be done in the appropriate way. Like you and I, we have conversations about everything, and I can tell when you're getting uncomfortable, and I know that's my key to back off because that's going to be counterproductive, right?
Right.
What's it going to do making you upset or mad or not feel safe or anything? That's not going to help anything. That's just going to make an awkward situation for you that much more awkward, you know?
Right.
So
But if it's also like pointing something out, whether it's going to make me awkward or not, it's just like a hey, heads up type deal.
of course. And every situation is different. I mean, everyone is their own person and everyone is able to deal with certain things as they come in certain ways. I know it's like a whole bunch of blobber. Are you excited for tomorrow?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, not. I mean, I'm
Are you packed?
No, I still gotta do wash.
Oh my Jesus! What time is it?
6:34.
Okay. Well,
I don't have much. I got like my jeans, sweatpants. Got a bunch. I got a lot of t-shirts though. A lot of t-shirts. Still got all the stuff from the last rehab that you gave me in my backpack.
oh well, I packed you a new bag. It's on the table in the kitchen.
George's other bag.
I took that bag. I reused that bag, but I packed the bag.
Pretty nervous, but
what are you nervous about?
New faces.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just going in and being like, "Hey, I'm Connor, and I'm an addict," but they're all gonna look at me because I'm already sober, and they're gonna be like looking me up and down. Like,
well, see, that's a nice thing. You don't have to go into detox, right?
Right.
So that's cool. You don't have to go there. You know. So that's the worst part, in my opinion, about rehabs, right? You go there, and 90% of the time, you're detoxing or need to detox, and you just feel like shit, right? And then you got to be around all these new people and all these new faces and get to know all this new stuff. You have half the battle done because you're sober as the day is long. You don't have to worry about going in and feeling like that. So you're going to be a little bit more upbeat than they are, and you're going to be like, "Bro, what's up? Why are you so happy for?"
Waking up smiling.
Yeah, and they're going to be like, "Are you all right?" Like,
tripping.
Yeah.
I was when I was in Seafield, I actually met this guy, and I gave him my Columbia because he gave away his leather jacket to some dude. So I gave him my jacket when they brought him in. But he's like, he grabs it and he's like, "You ever see Super Mario Bros?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "It's the ball." He starts running around with my jacket. He was tripping.
Oh yeah.
Funniest thing I've ever seen. But it was cool, you know. Like,
I think you did pretty all right there. I think you're going to be fine. Like, you're a likable guy. You're polite. You're respectful. I think you're going to be just fine.
Mind my own.
You do. You do.
I already have social anxiety, so it's like,
oh God, don't we all?
Like, I'll open up and meet everybody. It's what you're supposed to do. It's going to make it easier. But like, when I went to Seafield, it took me a little bit to like.
Well, first off, you were detoxing. You were just like a second sober, if at all, and you were totally out of your element because you were down in the city.
In the Hamptons.
Yeah.
Hollywood stars.
So do you want to, when you are done with whatever part of your treatment you complete there and we visit, or you come visit, do you want to do another video and update everyone?
Of course.
Did you?
Hopefully I'll be like fatter. I'll look like a chipmunk.
Trust me. Give it some time and sobriety. You'll be fatter.
Listen, I got my EBT card now. I can definitely, I'll stock up. I'm going to stock up. I'm going to get real fat.
So, well, good. I remember seeing you and I was like, oh my God, you look so healthy. You put so much weight on. It's amazing. So, okay. Well, I'm so glad I got to introduce Connor to you guys. And I will be making a small wish list for him off of Amazon just for some few things that I know he needs and he won't say. And he will be going into Pennsylvania for his rehab, and it's cold. So hopefully in a few months we will come back on with a fluffier version of Connor, as he just said, and I will continue to update you guys as we go. And if anybody is interested in his address at the rehab, I will provide that for you so you can write him if you want to, because we can all always use some support and a pen pal. And remember, we recover loudly, so those behind us do not suffer in silence. Bye.